As a strategy to improve clarity of communication for a topic that has the potential to impact all families, this podcast outlines key information related to school start times. Information about school start times has already been shared with our community at various points over the last year through written updates, board committee meetings, and strategic updates. Most recently, it was discussed at the first strategic plan town hall meeting in October. In addition, a survey question was added to the electronic input form for those who could not attend the town hall but wanted to provide input.
The purpose of this initiative is to determine whether the existing schedule can be modified to create the potential advantage of a later start for older adolescents and minimize disadvantages on those same students and other stakeholders in PRSD. School start times are often determined by historical and/or logistical reasons. When considering all factors that affect older adolescents, the established norm of an early morning start time can have unintended negative consequences for students and contribute to health-related concerns. Resiliency and wellness are two important concepts at PRSD connected to the district's values and health and physical education department vision.
The topic of sleep for adolescents is receiving attention in our region and across the country. In May of 2017, Dr. Franzen, Assistant Professor of Psychiatry at the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine, and Ms. Rambo, the Western PA chapter leader of Start Schools Later, presented to superintendents at the Allegheny Intermediate Unit. This slide illustrates the start times of Allegheny County schools. At Pine Richland, you will notice that our school start time of 7:20 a.m. is one of the earliest in the county. Given the shared campus and logistics of covering all parts of our townships, this start time applies to our middle school as well. We have approximately 2,300 students in grades 7 through 12 that begin class at 7:20 a.m.
Over the past year, we have shared some of the literature related to sleep and adolescence. For example, the American Academy of Pediatrics published a policy statement in 2014 related to school start times for adolescents. In this statement, the AAP outlined the factors influencing insufficient sleep in adolescents and the impact of chronic sleep loss. They identify an optimal biological need of 8.5 to 9.5 hours of sleep for adolescents. They describe the biological characteristics of this age group. Similar information is presented from the American Medical Association and Centers for Disease Control. Links to these reports are available on the PRSD website. Go to At Your Service and School Start Times.
On this slide, we share a profile of a PRHS student and also show some statistics and a sleep debt image from the AIU presentation. Pine Richland High School students generally have a rigorous course load, nightly homework and studying in excess of 1 to 2 hours, after-school activities, athletics, evening games, concerts, and/or work responsibilities. The national statistics demonstrate a lack of sleep and the sleep debt that accumulates. There is a health and wellness consequence for burning the candle at both ends. While the school district is not responsible for all choices impacting sleep, the structure of the school day and start time is one factor that can be adjusted. It is only one factor, but it is an important one to consider. We know that you might all be thinking, well, students just will stay up later. The research has suggested that is not the case.
A district committee took a practical approach to the study of this issue. 4 basic options were considered. 1, shift all schedules later in same structure. 2, flip-flop Eaton Hall in the middle school, high school. 3, some other innovative or creative solution. And 4, status quo. Most importantly, we wanted to determine whether there was a practical change that we could help 2,300 students every day and minimize the logistical impacts on our schools. We also needed to study the impact on the 40 private parochial schools that students from the townships of Pine and Richland attend. It requires a complex and coordinated effort to efficiently and effectively meet responsibilities to those students and families as well. From an athletic perspective, we see minimal impact on practices and competition. If a change to start time occurs, any before-school activity request will be carefully reviewed.
This is a good time to directly address all K-12 families that support the 4,600 students at Pine Richland. First, we know that every family establishes a routine based on the requirements of school. Families are structured in many different ways. Parent and guardian flexibility with work schedules or other responsibilities varies. Second, we know that a structural change to the start of the day for 2,300 students has a likely impact or ripple effect on the primary schools and families at the end of the day. We even know that some high school students would rather not see a change. They are thinking about all of their other responsibilities. The reality is that we have students walking to their bus stop at 6 a.m. We cannot eliminate competing interests and the need to balance those interests. We have an emerging recommendation that we believe is reasonable and appropriate. This recommendation is a positive step in supporting health and wellness in older adolescents. It is just one step, one piece of the puzzle. This topic is also tough because it affects parents differently depending on the age of their child or children. For example, it may not be important to a K-3 parent today, but that perspective may change significantly when their child reaches middle school and high school age.
After study, we eliminated the options to flip-flop Eden Hall and high school middle school. Given the total logistic challenges, we also eliminated some other form of innovation. It is not possible to condense overall bus cycles. The reality for school district is that bus driver shortages are already a major concern. Beyond the cost of leasing additional buses, there is a practical reality that sustaining high levels of drivers is a non-starter. In this slide, we ask the question, how much can we shift later and still balance the needs at the end of the day for primary families? By shifting the high school, middle school start time to 7:45 a.m. and tightening some of the arrival times of buses, we can shift the first bus stop by approximately 45 minutes. After considering several options, the 7:45 a.m. start emerged as the recommendation. Everything for Eden Hall and the primary schools would move back by 15 to 20 minutes. For example, first bus stop time, arrival, and end of day. At the high school, middle school, it is possible to reduce some transition time within the day. In this way, the school day would end around 2:40 p.m., which is 15-minute change from the current day of 2:25 p.m. After-school activities would start at times similar to the current schedule.
Stated simply, there will always be a first student on the bus in the morning and a last student off the bus in the afternoon. However, we believe the proposed schedule balances competing needs. The high school and middle school administrators believe they can reduce some times within the day. For example, homeroom can be slightly shortened and travel time in hallways can be considered. This means that the full 25 minutes will not impact the end of the day, and therefore not as much of a ripple effect on the other buildings. Through that process, and from those that participated in the electronic survey, the responses included 153 total yes responses, 32 no responses, and 35 individuals requesting additional information regarding the proposed option. From the town hall session, that included 72 yeses, 18 nos, and 17 needing more info. On our electronic input form, it included 81 yeses, 14 nos, and 18 requests for more information. As indicated in the past sessions, we are not necessarily looking for a majority opinion. Small changes in morning start times may have a beneficial impact for approximately 2,300 high school and middle school students every day.
It is also important to acknowledge that certain behaviors may work in concert with a change and provide maximum benefit. For example, time management, earlier bedtime, reduced screen time, exercise, and nutrition. This collaboration between home and school could maximize the impact on overall wellness. A recommendation for this slight shift will be made for board consideration in the next couple of months. A clear decision and direction by January of 2019 will provide the time necessary to fully prepare for all details before the start of the 2019-20 school year. As stated earlier, we know that a shift in start times for high school, middle school has a ripple effect. We believe the health and wellness aspect of this decision is the top priority, and the 7:45 a.m. start helps minimize impact on the rest of the system.